1:14 is the afternoon time. Somebody tell me, Matt, the lab can hardly do a test, a blood test. All tests must be done at a private lab. Lies, lies, and more lies. The Prime Minister must stop that. On the telephone, hello, talk to me. Yes? Uh huh.
Yes, Matt.
Yes.
Matt, can we take people for Wapui? Matt, my mother was in the hospital. And they said they treated my mother for blood clot. My mother didn't have blood clot. When they finished with my mother, she died. They're telling us my mother had a stroke. My mother didn't have a stroke because my mother was responding to us. She was sitting. She was moving her hand. And you want to tell me Dominic have the best hospital? Why he didn't make his wife make his children there? He take us for Wapui, yeah? Boy, scary. One day come, I will catch you, eh?
Hello, talk to me on the telephone. Good afternoon to you. Yes.
Mm,
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
I know.
I'm here. Are you there, caller? Hello, talk to me. Yes. Uh huh.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Yes. You calling the next line. Good afternoon
Good
to you.
afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon. If we have all these good things at the hospital, good doctors, good machines, why before this illegal prime minister and his bonus, when before they are turned up, they're going and they're flying overseas?
You're asking why? Well, you should ask the Prime Minister why. Hello, 116.
Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon to you.
Matt, all the Prime Minister again. He's sympathetic to the teachers at grammar school because he used to teach grammar school. Now he's sympathetic to the nurses because he grew up with a nurse. Where was your sympathy when nurses bombing right to go at their home after 11 o'clock in the night? Where is your sympathy when the Dominican nurses is paid in the Caribbean while you're enjoying 64,000 a month? Where is the sympathy for that? Where is the sympathy when the good nurses have to leave and go because they can't make a living in DA? Where is your sympathy? But so many people going to the hospital, you live in your home good, and you go into the hospital for 7 days and coming back with bed sores. So you mean to tell me that is just one nurse having a bad day? 7 days later, you go to the hospital, you walk to inside of the ambulance, you come back out 7 days later, 14 days later, with contracture, you can't walk. Where is Kerrit's sympathy for the people that have to face those kind of challenges? You go there for a broken arm, and you come out in a body bag, and we have the best health systems, and you want to compare 2024 with 1999 when UWP was in office, and people were not even paying half of that, and our mortality rate coming out of the hospital wasn't a fraction of what it is now. Man, Matt, you see them thing there, you see me and all you kind of a prime minister, the hospital's so good, but your wife sent her friend to wherever in the Caribbean for acid reflux. And she had her 2 children just like me in the United States of America. Who coming out of the United States of America and coming down to Dominica for medicals? If we fall sick in Dominica, then we have to go to the doctor in Dominica. I worked for a doctor and I saw people come from St. Thomas and St. Croix because she's the best in the Caribbean when it comes to your eyes ophthalmology. And that was in 2000, Scarrett. So we'll and come again, my brother. We'll and come again. Afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Let's listen to the opposition voices, the opposition leaders in Dominica in terms of, their own assessment of our health system. We spoke to them just last week.
It is a national tragedy because that actually, I mean, the government mismanages everything it touches, right? And the government has done a hatchet job on all sectors of our lives. But when you look at the health sector, that is one that is so glaring that really does kill Dominicans or really does allow Dominicans to have poor life outcomes. This is one of the most glaring examples of the government simply not caring enough about the ordinary Dominican to ensure that they have healthy lives, to ensure that they have health outcomes that are acceptable. I mean, how can it be that we allow people to die simply because we are not investing what we should in the health care sector? That we're not bringing in the right people, that we're not training the human capital, that we're not developing this sort of culture around healthcare that is caring and empathetic and measurable, right? Put metrics in place that says these are the outcomes that we care about and these are the outcomes that we're going to, and hold people accountable. It is a matter of accountability, Matt. There is simply no accountability in Dominica in terms of metrics. Right? We do not set objectives and goals and said you must accomplish this, and if you do not, then here are the consequences. You're replaced, and you are your team is reevaluated, and the team is reassessed and structured correctly. That is what is going on in the health sector. It goes on everywhere in Dominica, but because it is such a drastic impact on people's lives, it is a good sector for us to focus on how good governance is simply not going on in Dominica, right? And the quality of outcomes in the healthcare system is just simply not measured, and no one is held accountable. The funds that are used to pay advisors and ambassadors around the world is in the millions of dollars. The funds that are used to protect the prime minister. If we could rally those funds, I am sure that many of the low-hanging fruit in the healthcare sector could be solved. So it's not a matter of funds per se. It's about the allocation of funds and the importance that is placed on the lives and well-being of Dominicans, and the matter of what is a priority. How can it be a priority to have 15 advisors who basically do nothing, who sit around all day, produce nothing because, as I said, there are no measurable outcomes, and yet we are comfortable doing this when the poor lady from Pottersville has to go and find $250 to go down by Jolly's to buy some paracetamol, or someone has to go to their home to get a blanket to keep their family member warm. I mean, what sort of world are we living in when this is acceptable to the government, knowing that the waste that is so freely available, the fat that is so freely available in government, and these low-hanging fruits of basic healthcare outcomes are left open? It's simply a matter of mismanagement, non-measurable outcomes, and a lack of empathy for the real lives of Dominicans.
Joshua Francis, your turn.
Yes, Matt. So again, we start with the examination of the current situation in the healthcare sector.
Yes.
Number one, there appears to be demoralization amongst healthcare service providers, the doctors, the nurses. They're living in droves. They're looking for better opportunities. Why so? Simply because their salaries are low, wages are low, working environment is poor. Their pension plan is almost non-existent. They are left unappointed for many years. Their contracts, and I'm looking at healthcare service providers, their contracts 6 months, 1 year. They're almost like they're begging. So that has to be corrected. The new government must sit with these healthcare service providers to improve their situation, because if not, we'll continue to lose our best doctors, our best nurses. We see it happen every day. So that's a number one priority for any right-thinking government, to sit with the stakeholders and have a proper discussion. What can I do as government representatives? You reach out to these providers. What can I do to make things better so that you won't go to Canada or go to the UK or go to the US? That has to happen. Number two, the government has to increase government expenditure in health. Health is wealth. And we must work towards getting not only a healthy population, but a happy population. If people have high blood pressure, diabetes, they have all kinds of non-communicable diseases resulting from stress because they cannot buy fish. They have to resort to certain foods which are not healthy for them. They're unhappy, they're on the edge. We're going to have more health problems in a healthcare department that has limitations. So the government must increase expenditure. Number one, on educating the population, on eating healthy.
So you're saying more of the budget should go to health?
More money must go to health because we need to pay our healthcare service providers more money. We need to find a way to have supplies at the hospital. It's inexcusable. In 2024, one goes to the hospital and his surgery has to be delayed because the hospital lacks basic facilities and supplies. That's inexcusable. So a right-thinking government has to find a way to spend more money in the healthcare service sector so that our supplies are met. Our doctors are happy. The basic needs at the hospital improve. Not only at the main hospital, we have to decentralize. Of course, you heard when I speak about the healthcare, primary healthcare. Dominica boasted to be number one in the region. Where have we gone? What has happened? Where have we gone wrong? Some people may argue we have actually regressed in the area of healthcare service provisions. So we have to look at the clinics in the rural areas as well. Look at the Portsmouth hospital. It was more formidable than what it is right now. And it is in a strategic area because this international airport, which is being constructed, is not too far away from Portsmouth, relative to where the airport is. So we have to improve that facility. The Marigot hospital as well. The government has to look into this. You cannot be building an international airport and not coincidentally, improving the healthcare service around the airport. That has to be part of the plan. The clinics in every area of Dominica must improve as well. So overall, I believe that the government, any right-thinking government, and this new government which may come, must spend more money on health. Also, Matt, we can build partnerships. We have a lot of doctors, a lot of specialists out there, because even if we were to improve the supplies and improve the salaries for the doctors, we are still lacking on specialists. So we need more specialist doctors. How do we do that? We build partnerships. That's where Dominica must respect our skilled people in the diaspora and build engagements, build partnerships, build this brain bank. We can actually get a list of all our trained doctors throughout the diaspora, and the government can find a way to contract with these specialists to come at certain times of the year. There are people who go and leave. Invite them to come to Dominica to conduct certain operations. Take, for example, in the private sector, we have Mr. Green, the dentist. 2 times or 3 times a year, he has this dentist, with a specialty coming to Dominica to perform certain surgeries. We can do something like that in the public sector. We have the physical facility, improve it, engage our trained people and trained personnel in the diaspora.
In telemedicine, that's it. Dr. Fontaine, health. Is there a crisis there?
Absolutely, yes, Matt. And again, it points to the mismanagement by this government. And because it certainly was better 20 years ago than it is now. We've regressed in many, many ways. Lack of basic medicines, in terms of the way the medical personnel are treated and so on, the inability to hang on to our nurses, our trained, skilled nurses, because they're going to greener pastures. Just a whole litany of issues. Recently, there was a scandal in terms of the medical stores, I understand, and drugs and the mishandling of that. The way in which you judge whether or not a society, or one of the key measures of a society that is making progress, is in the health sector. You judge by the health sector. And the fact that we have not done well in health is an indication that societally, in society in general, we are degrading. We are going back. So we are in a major state of crisis. Persons are literally fearful of going to the hospital. You hear of persons who are meeting untimely deaths, and they go in for a little thing and then they don't come out. People are fearful, Matt. I mean, the level of fear that you have in Dominica now, persons who do not want to go there. You have the issue as well of just access, in terms of the lack of a national insurance program that would cover persons who do not have the means, or who, even if they have the means, would like to pay into an insurance that would take care of that. So we need to tackle this issue of healthcare. We need to also make use, and I agree with Josh on that, to make use of our many, many doctors. Dominica has produced many doctors over the years. We have doctors today in Dominica who are unemployed. All right, there are doctors, I know for a fact, there are doctors who are in Dominica today
Why unemployed?
Yeah, because they're not able to find opportunity in our health system. And I am blown away, because I was approached by a doctor not too long ago, and who gave me the information, and I was blown away. I was saying, but I thought, there would be an opportunity within the system that our young doctors go overseas and train, and they come back and they're able to find opportunity. They're not able to find opportunity. We look at the wages of these doctors. I saw a post recently, a medical doctor getting 5,000 EC, Matt. 5,000 EC dollars, after spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in training and so on, and you come back to that kind of salary. It takes a special person to even want to stay there for that. So you see why a number of our doctors are migrating, they're leaving, because the pay is not right. The system is not right. I remember years ago, we've been talking about even just our nurses. Many times I'm coming, from the countryside. I have to stop to give nurses rides. They're out there in the rain, standing up, 7 o'clock in the night, trying to get into town. I mean, you've not been able to even organize for your workforce, for your nurses to be taken care of, not to be exposed as they are. So there are many issues, but part of this is a fundamental problem that we have in Dominica. I lay everything at the feet of this government because it has failed the people of Dominica, and we see it very, very glaringly in the health sector.
It's 1:30 in the afternoon, so you heard the opposition voices clearly. As to one comment there from the opposition there, the Prime Minister may be living in a different country because everybody else is saying that the health sector is going down while the Prime Minister sees it differently. Somebody's asked me to ask, why is Mr. Reginald Austria, among others, going to Cuba for medical attention? We have trained more doctors per capita and still celebrating Cuban nurses and doctors coming to Dominica to help our health system, our healthcare system. Is the HIFU not working? That's just a question there. Our trained doctors and nurses not capable? State-of-the-art building for sure means nothing if you do not have the human and physical resources to make a system work. Everything is a facade. That's a comment there. Let's take another call on the telephone. Yes.
Matt, I hope my phone don't cut it. Matt, Matt, you will always put up front for the hospital, because ask how many years hospital staff have not gotten an increase of salary. 3-4 years, Matt. No increase of salary. Thank you.
All right, I just got a call there from the hospital. At the ICU, make sure we take care of that. The little nets that cover your feet and your hands or your hair to ensure that you don't spread bacteria. Somebody just left the hospital and says, Matt, sadly, we have none of that, not even at ICU. So if that is lacking there, try to ensure that we have the protective gear for our nurses and our patients, okay? Somebody saying what Joshua Francis said is a great idea. Set a ballot system with specialists from the diaspora to come to Dominica. Believe me, it scares me just thinking of going to the hospital with a medical condition. If the hospital, more comments, if the hospital is so equipped with functioning healthcare, why are so many people dying there with no inquiry? Yes, it's the best in the Caribbean and for Malawi Dominicans, only not good enough for Mr. Skerritt and his wife and children and all, his visa well and his regime. Another comment there. Somebody's asking a very important question there. Why won't Mr. Skerritt be brave enough to have a discussion or interview with people who do not pamper him? For 21 years, Mr. Skerritt has hidden behind the skirts of his lackeys at DBS, Kyrie FM, and GIS. Skerritt is a coward. If he's a man, ask him to come to Q95 and allow him to take questions respectfully. Well, I've been asking that. And I'm hoping that that he responds. Let's see how that goes. As a matter of fact, I was making a comment to the press secretary this morning because he said he's available. So I said, okay, let's invite other journalists to Q95, and he can come as well, and we can do an entire program, and of course, simulcast with the other radio stations. But give other media people a chance to ask some questions. On the telephone, hello, talk to me, yes?
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre. Thank you so much for putting these three gentlemen together
Yes.
to show a sign of unity and the work that you have done, Mr. Pierre, to bring people together and give a voice. I really appreciate your hard efforts. And again, hopefully that you will be honored one day by the government of Dominica for an award in media for bringing a voice for the people of Dominica. So again, kudos to you. Mr. Peltier and the three gentlemen you have here, it's very important discussion about what can we do the health sector in Dominica. Listen for a little bit here. You see, there's no way that Dominica cannot manage so much health issues that we have. But again, it goes back to policy. Even if government make decisions or come up with something like a smoke screen, a good example is this big thing about ban of plastic and styrofoam in Dominica. It's a joke because they spoke about it, maybe no styrofoam. But in salt injury, there's not only plastic bag, but when the consumer goes to the grocery store, there was a big thing about burning plastic. Here you are, consumers actually paying for plastic bags at the grocery store. So shame on the government. Why do we still have those things happening? Instead of developing a skills training program through the youth division or junior secondary program, where young men and women can make bags out of used clothes and so on, and then these are reusable bags that can create employment for our youth. The thing about health, Mr. Peltier, is simple, and those three gentlemen, you don't have to take my advice, but one of the ways we can really manage a health system in Dominica, we have a small population. We are importing something about well over 21 million US dollars just on chicken parts into Dominica. Why? We have a hatchery, we have farmers, we have an abattoir. Why can't we be the first island in the Caribbean to ban any poultry product that contains antibiotic? Antibiotic level is one of the critical things that getting our people ill in Dominica. And what that does is whenever you consume food with high antibiotic levels, when you go to the doctor, the prescription they're going to give you, if it's not strong enough, of course you're not going to get results. Because one of the things about antibiotics, though it has its purpose, it also has serious side effects. So if I was the government of Dominica, the Minister of Agriculture is listening, I would work with organizations like ACARI, which is Dominica Limited, which is a organization, agriculture company, that want to develop the agricultural sector in Dominica. And then you work with farmers, and you can actually create 25 to 5,000 jobs in agriculture just doing that alone. And then you put a tariff on imported food like chicken that contains antibiotics, and then you create job for your people, but you're also making your people healthy. Another thing with the health sector in Dominica, I think, that needs to be addressed is before, I remember like the DFT government days in UWP days, you have health centers throughout the country in Dominica where you had registered nurse, and some of those nurses are actually capable in helping giving birth the parents when moms go there to help with delivering babies. So what happened to that system? Why we don't have those health systems back on track? And it proved this primary healthcare system worked, and it was the model for the Caribbean and the world. As a matter of fact, Dominica had the best primary healthcare in the entire Southern Hemisphere. I mean, people like, he spoke about it, the historian, he was born, how many years ago, 70 years ago by C-section in Portsmouth. Today, for someone to have a baby in Portsmouth, they have to go to Roseau. So I think these things need to be addressed. As one of your panelists said, we need to invest in the doctors and the nurses we have there instead of leave and go and look for job elsewhere. But how do we do that? It's first begin with policies, SOPs, and it has to be addressed. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you very much. 1:39 is the afternoon time. Talk to me, yes? Hello? Hello? Caller, are you there? Let's take another call. Are you there? Good afternoon to you.
Yes, Matt. Matt, if we have the best health care, why when somebody go in the hospital, they admit them. When they come out, why the person there, they get bobo cab and they get dead so. And when for them to come out well to go at their home, they coming out in a body bag. If we have the best health care, because majority of people that go in that hospital, all you hear in death announcement, China, friendship, killing hospital. All you hear in only death announcement. You don't hear nothing good. So how you can say we have the best health care? We haven't got the best health care. The moment they don't have paracetamol. Simply paracetamol to give somebody for a headache. They don't have that. They don't have ibuprofen. They don't have even drips to give people. How they say they have the best health care? So much people have to leave Dominica, go Guadeloupe to go and see doctor. Matnik. And you said we have the best health care? And you're going to make your trip in Dominica? I can't understand that, Prime Minister. Can't believe we are Tommy Dominica, eh? Quand même, bois pour oui, là, qui finit on séjour là.
All right, caller, thank you very much. Let's take another phone call. 140, yes?
Good afternoon, Matt,
Good afternoon to you, my brother.
and good afternoon to your guests.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, it's all well and good as usual. I want to applaud you for keeping your program alive and educating our people in Dominica. Oh, good afternoon to your guests. To keep your program alive.
We have no guests. We have no guests. It's just an open program.
Matt, but when I really look, it left to us in Dominica nowhere, Matt.
Okay.
Matt, because when you're telling me we're getting all kind of things to see, all what Kerry doing is a problem. 24 years of government here, we still crying. 24 years of government, dear Matt, we still crying to straighten things. You don't see anyone to carry people. Not one minister of health coming and speak. Nobody coming and speak. Matt, you see right now, it left to we Dominicans now. As far as I'm concerned, it left to we Dominicans. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's listen to this voice note.
Matt, great program. Thanks for having it. Matt, Dominica has a management problem. You see that same hospital with all the technology? If you have a much better management structure, the hospital could be successful. Dominica has a management problem. The fact that the Prime Minister is the one that has to address the health issue is fundamentally telling you why Dominica has a problem. It's management. Dominica is managed inefficiently. You have Donald Peters, who failed at the college in the very area that he studies as a PhD. You take him now and you say him to head the board at the hospital. What change you going to have in the hospital? It's an old boys club. It's just a recycling of a bunch of failed people on these boards across the board in the country. Health is no different. You understand? If you do not have proper management, right, you have an inefficient system. An inefficient system will never deliver properly. That is just basics. You understand? So it's the style of management that is the problem in the country. And we have to address the manager. If we remove that manager and we can have a more better managed system, Dominica will start having flying colors in a lot of areas that it is running last place to the rest of the region.
We've certainly revolutionized healthcare delivery in Dominica. We have dramatically increased the number of services that are being offered now in Dominica. The type of the quality of the equipment, the high tech equipment. We have the HIFU machine that we have not even heralded in terms of the number of people who have benefited from the use of that equipment. We have more doctors on really need at the hospital, to be honest with you, in many areas. The ICU, we have more theaters. We have 4 or 5 theaters there. We have increased beds at the ICU. I mean, there are a lot of wonderful things happening at the hospital and healthcare in general across Dominica. And the issue of I've listened to the discussion in Dominica in recent months, and people are saying that people should pay something for the healthcare facility. Those who have to pay sometimes don't pay. That's a challenge we have in Dominica. People talk about the government should be doing this and that, but we don't speak about individual responsibility. And I'm happy the caller is highlighting this in a constructive way. I made a point in Parliament that between 2022 and 24, thereabout, we have not collected over $7 million from services that the hospital provides to citizens. And this is money that the hospital could use to maintain the hospital. When you look at the cost of certain services and compared to other jurisdictions in the Caribbean, I mean, we're paying a fraction here. I mean, as it is now, to do an MRI is $150. The average cost in the Caribbean is about $1,800. You understand? And there's a recurrent cost to maintaining those facilities, those machines, and those equipment. So we're taking note. Is something that we intend to look at and to see how people who have the means to should be able to pay, how the hospital can, Ministry of Health can enhance its collection and the various methods of payment. So it's something that we're going to look at. I mean, we subsidize in a dramatic way, even medication. You'll buy a Ventolin, the puff, at the hospital, say for $9. But outside the gate of the hospital is $50 for it. You understand? There's one, I was told, in the private sector, you get a particular item for $2,800. At the hospital, it's $700 at the CMS. You know, so all those things are subsidized dramatically. We have healthcare. We understand, we as a government understand and appreciate the fact that we need to ensure that every citizen who needs healthcare has access to it too. So we have to ensure that we balance off the need for people to pay something and that those who cannot have access to. Because what we do not want to happen is what happened during the United Workers' Party time, when people did not go to the hospital because they were demanded and required to pay the hospital fees. And if they owed, they would not be allowed to come in. And so you had situations. This is how we brought about the policy of free healthcare for 60 and over. When I visited the Canago territory, I've said that story before, I don't have time to say it today. You know, there were many people in Dominica who did not go to the hospital because they were told unless you pay what you owed, you will not be allowed to be admitted. And so people basically stayed away to avoid the embarrassment and die at their homes. And so on. I heard a caller calling already a program this morning saying people used to come from overseas to Dominica for medical care. I'm not aware of that, because you had one used dialysis machine. You did not have MRI. You did not have CT scan. So what they were coming to Dominica for? People coming to Dominica now because they have MRI that they're paying a fraction for. They have a CT scan. They have a HIFU machine. You know, we have an oncology department. You know, we have some of the best bone surgeons in the Caribbean. We have some of the best very best eye care facility, top cutting edge stuff and so forth. So people come, and there are many Dominicans who live in the U.S. Virgin Islands, in Guadeloupe, in St. Martin, in the United States, who come to Dominica for medical care, who come to Dominica to do surgery because it's a fraction of what they have to pay in the United States. As a matter of fact, if you don't have insurance and you have access to the Affordable Care Act of Obama, they have a problem. So we have a lot of Dominicans who come here for medical stuff. As a matter of fact, we should really be looking seriously at health tourism, because we have the facilities for it, and we have the ability to provide the care and comfort to our patients. And obviously, healthcare is an evolving situation. Sometimes if you go to the hospital, you may not get the treatment that you should get from an individual. But by and large, I mean, the nurses are exceptional nurses at the hospital. The doctors are exceptional at the hospital. I mean, people have a bad day from time to time and tell you something they shouldn't say to you in retrospect. But we should never use a particular instance of bad treatment to justify our criticism of our healthcare system as a whole in Dominica. I mean, it's an extraordinary job, and people are doing a fantastic job. I go to the hospital is clean. The beds are patients are well taken care of. Obviously, you'll have one or two situations where things shouldn't happen. But by and large, I mean, we have to give credit to the healthcare professionals, and I will not allow anybody to denigrate them or to unjustly criticize them. When I have an issue with them, I say to them privately. I won't come publicly and to chastise anybody on that like this. But and I grew up with a nurse, and I know what nursing can be and the challenges of a nurse. So I am very sympathetic to the job that nurses do.
This is a subject that we have to continue talking about I'm sure we'll get health professionals to comment moving forward. Well, let's take a few more phone calls before we move to our next subject at the top of the hour there. Hello, talk to me. Yes. Sorry about that. Let's move on. Talk to me. Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to your listeners.
Yes, sir.
Matt, people was leaving overseas to come down to Dominica. When Eugenia Charles was Prime Minister, Dominica had the best health care ever in the history. Dominicans could afford to pay now only $5 at the hospital. On top of that, hospitals was built and health centers was built all over the country, island-wide, health centers. You hear what I'm telling you, Matt?
Uh-huh.
The health centers under the Freedom Party was built all over the country. So, Matt, where's the Minister of Health?
Mr. Laville?
Where is the Minister of Health to speak on health, Matt? Where is the Minister of Health? Where is the Minister of Health, Matt, to speak on health? Matt, health is in the worst situation ever in the history of Dominica, and we know that. We know that is no pretend. There's no paracetamol, there's no paper towel, there's no hand soap. There isn't those things at the Princess Margaret Hospital. I don't say Dominica China Friendship Hospital because we always had Princess Margaret Hospital. I would probably say Dr. Solando or Dr. Carissa Eaton, but I never say Dominica China Friendship Hospital, my foot. Where is the minister, Matt? We are lacking so many things, Matt. So many people are dying. You go to have a little finger day problem, less to month. You go to have a headache, less to month. Not people are dying because people are afraid to go to the hospital. That's a statement of fact, Matt. The Prime Minister don't live in the country, Matt. I think I can understand you want to defend your government and so, but let's just be real. Let us be real. Your wife was sent overseas to make babies. Things are so good. Here, all ministers who fall sick, Matt, with a helicopter that come and lift them up. Here, lift them. And the hospital there is for Dominicans to rest to mourn. Rest to mourn. Dominica Health was number one. The world was looking at us in Dominica as health as the number one in Dominica. Today we don't have paracetamol in the hospital. Dominica is the best. Give me a break, Matt.
All right, caller, thank you very much. We have a few more minutes. Talk to me, yes?
Yes, Matt.
You're back.
I'm in Newton, Savannah. He say he have insurance. His children have insurance. His wife have insurance. If something happens, helicopter can lift him up and go. He forget he said that to us. And today you want to come and tell us about health? Because the health, no, the health, my foot.
All right, caller, take you on the telephone. Good afternoon to you, yes?
Good afternoon, Matt. How are you?
Good afternoon to you.
Happy New Year.
To you.
I want to ask Mrs. Carrot, why it's so good in Dominica with the medical field? Why Marigot Hospital, when somebody go to Marigot Hospital, there isn't a gong in the hospital when they take the clothes off for the doctor to look at them? Why? I was there with a cousin of mine, and she take her clothes off. Where is the gong? She had to take the same clothes. She had to cover herself. Why we have a Spanish doctor in Marigot when Marigot people cannot even talk patois, much less Spanish? Why he have them there? Why I had to go to Rosa Hospital to see my cousin, and the prescription was there for 3 weeks, and they couldn't get to buy the prescription. The other patient on the other bed had to tell me, this man, I have a prescription there for 2 days, 3 days. Why it's not there? Why Marigot Hospital is hospital closest to the Melvin Hall Airport? Why there isn't a gun? Why is it you cannot even get a blood work in Marigot when you're coming to talk about health care in Dominica? Garrett, I think you're coming down with early dementia.
Good afternoon to you. Hello, talk to me, yes?
Matt, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, my brother. How you doing?
I am fine. Matt, I declared a while ago, am I hearing the Prime Minister talking about the time, in the areas of health, the time of the United Workers' Party? In that clipping that you just did?
Yes, he was attacking the United Workers' Party because he said people would stay at their home and die.
Matt, how many years has Labour Party been in power?
24.
But call a 24-year-old and ask them what they know about United Workers' Party and hospital health and those kind of things. Or a 23-year-old. I mean, are we really serious? But the health situation, well, but this afternoon. Good afternoon, man. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Afternoon to you. A lot of frustrated people there. It's 1:54. Yes, 59 seconds. Are you there, caller?
Yes, Matt. Good afternoon to you, Matt. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Matt, I never believed we would come into 2025 to promote Roosevelt Skerrit and his lies. Matt, I listened to that man this morning, Matt. Matt, and the only thing is enraged that man because that man just causing him to get to be enraged, because his lies upon lies. I mean, all callers have pointed out if Dominica healthcare is top notch, where the hell your wife goes America to deliver the 2 children? Why you have to fly out anything you have a headache? Matt, does that make sense to you, Matt? This man is causing people to get outraged. And Dominicans, this year, we cannot afford to allow that duo to just continue doing what they want. We have to take...
Hey, be careful. Be careful, okay? Let's not get personal. 449-3095-96 and 97. As I said, we have another stop coming up there in the next 5 minutes, so we'll pay attention to that. We'll come back to that issue, I'm sure, sometime later this week as it relates to the health system. Are you there? Yes?
Yes, but it's everything working so good and so well. They have high fu motion, they have chu fu motion, they have kung fu motion, they have all kind of machines working well at the hospital. Why they always have to send people to the other side? What are they calling them at? The place in Goodwill there, just after the hospital there.
Medicus?
Why people always have to go to Medicus? Why our machines are always malfunctioning in the hospital? And the same person that is to be taking care, I understood of the machine, the same X-ray machine, the same machines in the hospital. Now they are the other place working and all them things always functioning properly. Why? People have to go on the other side by medicals and pay so much money. Eh? Why? Why in this day and age we cannot do proper blood work at the Princess Margaret Hospital? We have to go and give another person total l'argent according to the blood work you want to do. Why? And a lot of people living here and they going away to do their operation. Imagine Antigua, people going to do proper medical in Antigua, St. Lucia, and here you're telling us we are the best medical care. We hope that when something will happen to you, as God is, it might happen, you will stay in Dominica and get the best medical care. Your wife will stay in Dominica and get the best medical care. Your children will stay here and get the best medical care. Remember, on the Utong Savannah, you told that you have insurance for you and your children and your wife. What about you all and the people blowing trumpet? What happening to us? And he like to reference UWP. UWP was in office since 2020. Is that not?
2000, yes, 2000.
2000. And you there, $5 people used to, and the people couldn't pay that $5 Papa Bontier. You saying they couldn't pay and they start their home, and there is no people staying at their home to die scary. I think we have a problem, Matt, and we're giving Mr. too much attention. 2025 is time for us to stop giving Mr. the attention. He's an attention seeker, and we have to stop that. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you very much. It's 1:58 in the afternoon. Let's take our final call on this, of course, segment. We will continue with that discussion. I'm going to try to get some health professionals to speak directly to the issue of health. Hello, talk to me on the telephone, yes?
Matt, how you doing? Happy New Year, Matt.
How you doing, Al? How are you?
I'm good. Matt, I haven't heard Brian in a while. Brian must be farming, making a lot of money. Money now. I haven't heard him in a month now.
Who's that?
Anyway, Brian, my partner Brian. I hope he's listening. Happy New Year, Brian. Matt, I'm calling on Isaac Baptist to round up a couple men and women, young folks in his village and bring them down to the grammar school. There's a lot of jobs down there, Matt.
I think you're of course a complete distraction in this afternoon because we are concentrating on health. If you have an input, make that input all or else. So we will not welcome you this afternoon because we're talking about one specific issue as it relates to health, and you have nothing to say. Absolutely nothing.
Matt,
You have nothing to say, Al, do you?
Matt, you don't think
I'm asking you, do you have anything to say as it relates to health? And the system in Dominica. No comments? Okay, call. Thank you, Al. Thank you. That distraction will not work this afternoon, okay? I'll give you Mr. Isaac's number and you can give him a call personally, okay? 2 o'clock is the afternoon time. This week we celebrated, or we observed the 21st anniversary of the death of Mr. Pierre. We'll continue that discussion. Health, we have to always remember those who came before. A statement from the ERC. We'll be talking to the former ambassador. We spoke to him earlier. We'll talk to him again this afternoon there as it relates to Mr. Pierre. Let's listen to the statement. But before that, let's take a break and continue. Thank you.
Attention homeowners, contractors, tradesmen, and all. It's great news from Eaststar Trading Limited. Just received a wide range of German premium quality power tools, vacuum cleaners, cement mixers, power wash machines, and more. And grass cutters at only $595. Visit our showroom upstairs of the supermarket on the bayfront for world-class Ronix power tools, swipers, power car wash, spray guns, and many more items. All at 220 volts to 50 hertz and all at affordable prices. Eaststar Trading Limited, making a difference for you.
AutoTrade is introducing our very own mobile app. Yes, the AutoTrade app is here. From scheduling your service appointments, request financing, checking our vehicle and parts inventory, to receiving personalized coupons and sales specials. Life is so much easier with the new AutoTrade app. Download the AutoTrade app from the Play Store or App Store today. Call us at 255-6800. AutoTrade, it's more than a vehicle, it's a relationship. Mouvement créole à Soukir. Tout le monde créole pour attention. Comité pour études créole Dominique. Et puis Radio QFM qui présenté. Mouvement créole. Tous les mardis soirs, au 6 après-midi. Information, blagues, interviews, l'histoire, problème, discussion, reportage, apprendre à parler et puis écrit créole. Lien avec ton peuple créole. Bon musique créole. Mouvement créole. Nous fait un rendez-vous, messieurs, mesdames, tous les mardis soirs. QFM qui est frappé avec bon parole créole. Sans ça participer, qui est nous? Rapidement, Mouvement créole à seconde station QFM. Boissez avec nous tous les mardis soirs 6h pour Mouvement créole. Matchez ça.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mikkel Henderson inviting you to Emerald Elegance, an evening of exquisite entertainment aboard the MV Freewinds. On January 8th, 2025, the Freewinds Band and I will present a benefit concert in aid of the Dominica Infirmary and the Premium Home and Residential Care Services. Tickets are $75 each and can be purchased at Deepex Color Lab on Cork Street in Roseau. Do join us on January 8th aboard the MV Freewinds for an unforgettable night of music. You don't want to miss it.
In a statement sent by the Electoral
All right, it's 204. Statement here from the ERC as it relates to the late Pierre Charles.
In a statement sent by the Electoral Reform Coalition on January 6, 2025, titled The Loving Memory of Honorable Pierre Charles, the former Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, reads, Pierre Charles was a Dominican politician who served as Prime Minister of Dominica from 2000 to his death in 2004. At the time of his death, he was also serving as member of the Parliament for Grand Bay since 1985. Charles was born in Grand Bay in St. Patrick Parish. He began his high school education at the Dominica Grammar School and completed it at the St. Mary's Academy before pursuing studies at the Dominica Teachers College. He served as a teacher and community organizer before entering elective office. The ERC says it salutes Honorable Pierre Charles as a champion for democracy, for free and fair elections. The statement continues, when Roosevelt Skerritt became Minister of Education, in an act of insubordination and total disrespect to the office of the Prime Minister, Pierre Charles visited the Chinese embassy in Barbados, ably aided and abetted by the lawyers of the North. Prime Minister Pierre did not muster the courage to immediately fire Roosevelt Skerritt. Pierre Charles's fate was sealed. Pierre Charles was at the time experiencing severe medical issues, and as a result, the then Minister of Education, Roosevelt Skerritt, and his enablers took advantage of an unsuspecting Pierre Charles, who was at the same time battling with an incompetent and hopeless cabinet of ministers. He was already forced to fire his deputy Ambrose George, and the rest were becoming increasingly burdensome on his health. The statement claims that the collapsed economy was rebounding after severe austerity measures. That is why Anthony Astafan did not mince words after his death to accuse cabinet members of sending Pierre Charles to his grave. Working with the United Workers' Party was easier than the Labour Party because, in his own words, he could handle the opposition on the outside, but the opposition within ended up being lethal. The story of the demise of Honorable Prime Minister Pierre Charles is yet to be told, and one day the likes of Simeon Albert, Clarence Christian, Kelly Ghost Williams, Clevel Mills, Roosevelt Skerritt, and Dr. Vince Henderson will find the testicular fortitude to inform the nation of how Pierre Charles was ambushed at the St. Joseph Dominica Labour Party infamous meeting on Sunday, 28th December 2003, 9 days before the death of Prime Minister Charles. On January 6, 2004, they showed no empathy for the unsuspecting Prime Minister. There is no doubt that Pierre Charles would have facilitated electoral reform, but it was not an issue at that time, so he gave the integrity in public office which Skerritt took away that privilege. Pierre Charles was a statesman of excellence who dedicated his life to the people of Grand Bay and of the Commonwealth of Dominica. May his soul continue to rest in eternal peace. This statement was written and published by the Electoral Reform Coalition on January 6, 2025.
All right, thank you, Richie. And on the line with me at this point is the former, of course, ambassador to the United Nations from Dominica, Crispin Gregoire. Crispin, you heard the message from the ERC.
Yes, yes, Matt. Good afternoon. I did hear it, and I'm very pleased that the ERC would put out this statement very, very important. The sad part is I have not seen any statement from the Dominican Labour Party.
You have not seen any statement from the Dominican Labour Party. Why do you think they're staying away from making any?
Are you aware of any statement they may
No,
have put out?
I have not. I have not. But I'm asking you, why do you think that they have not made reference to, his celebration or the observance of Mr. Pierre Charles's death on the 6th, just 2 days ago?
Well, Matt, I can only surmise that they feel that Pierre Charles is not part of the current Labour Party, and rightly so, because what has transpired since his passing, that Labour Party that we knew before 2004 no longer exists. So it's probably fitting that they will not put out a statement, and I don't expect any statement from them, because the January 6th has passed and nothing from them, so they don't consider that Pierre Charles is part of the legacy of this Labour Party.
So you're saying we have a different Labour Party today than we had since 2004, yes?
Absolutely, Matt. Absolutely. A party that has no principles of the past. Not the Michael Douglas Labour Party, not the Rosie Douglas Labour Party, not the Pierre Charles Labour Party. What we have today is a party that has no real roots. Just the supporters of the Labour Party who still think that this current Labour Party is their party. It's not. This is a party that has no principles. Imagine a party for 13 years had no delegates conference. Can you believe that? Pierre Charles would have never been at the helm of any political party that does not have delegates conference annually.
So the all we shall eat, or all shall eat, is no longer a part of that theme there for the Labour Party.
Oh, that was long gone. That died with Pierre Charles. That mantra died with Pierre Charles, Matt, and is there for everybody to see.
All right, Mr. Gregor, let's take some positives from Mr. Pierre Charles. What do you want, or what do you want? I think we spoke about that earlier this week, but I think we have missed out on some aspects. Well, how do you want Dominica to remember Pierre Charles?
Just 3 things from the press release. He served with integrity, honor, and distinction. There is no argument from any Dominican that those 3 things characterize the man. That's all I have to say on that.
All you have to say on the press release?
Yeah, from the press release.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just underscoring what the press release said, that Pierre Charles, what characterized him was that he served with integrity, honor, and distinction. He dedicated his whole life to serving people and doing community organizing and building a formidable youth organization in Grand Bay that became a force to reckon with. He rebuilt the Labour Party along with Michael Douglas and Rosie Douglas. And one of the things about that party that they built, it was very clear how succession would happen in the Labour Party. I should mention that Pierre Charles did not campaign to be political leader. When Rosie Douglas died, the Labour Party constitution is clear how the succession would happen.
Mm-hmm.
But some people started campaigning for the current leader of the Labour Party. And look at where we are. 25 years after the Labour Party came into office, we don't know what the succession plan is for the Labour Party or the current Labour Party that's in power. I don't consider myself part of that Labour Party. I left that party a long time. And much to the expectation of some people that somebody like me would show up at the bogus delegates conference they had in Vegas in November, I would have nothing to do with that party.
So when did you choose to walk away from that party? Because I've seen in recent times that other people are joining, and as somebody indicated to me, maybe Rosie Douglas would have been turning in his grave to see his own son joining the Labour Party today.
well, Matt, all I can say is that I would never join that party because that party has no roots in the history of the Labour Party that I knew. So what we have today is a different Labour Party, maybe Labour Party 2, and that Labour Party has no principles that the leaders and the founders of the Labour Party of the 1980s established. And because of that, somebody like me cannot be associated with that party at all.
What do you think would have been Mr. Charles's views on electoral reform?
Yes, on electoral reform, I think Pierre Charles will be very, very clear. And I'm going back to when the Labour Party was in opposition. The Labour Party struggled for 20 years in opposition. And the only reason that they were able to get back in power is because the electoral system we had was pretty level so that an opposition party could win another election.
Mm-hmm.
What we have today is a situation where electoral reform is not a priority for the current ruling party. And therefore, they're doing everything. The reason why it has taken 15 years for the electoral reform process to happen is because there's no commitment from the ruling party to electoral reform. And all of this fast that's going on, like those 3 bills before the parliament, let me just say something that I have not said before.
I'm listening.
And that is those 3 bills will not bring about electoral reform in Dominica. It will bring advantage for the current Labour Party to remain in office indefinitely. And that is the problem with the electoral reform process that's before the parliament. And I'm saying, but why did we struggle for 15 years and even face the wrath of the Dominican police throwing tear gas on the Dominican people who are asking for electoral reform? What we have before the parliament is really a travesty and a slap in the face to the Dominican people because we will not get a level playing field. Pierre Charles would be in the forefront of supporting a level playing field, and if he was at the helm of government, he would make sure that the Dominican people get what they want, which is a process for free and fair election where any party that could gain the confidence of the people of Dominica could win an election. That's not what we have before the parliament right now.
Let me ask a very sensitive question there. You can choose to answer it how you want to. But a lot of people, I spoke earlier after our conversation there, earlier on the 6th of January. I walked to the bus stop on the Granby area, and people are saying that, why is the wife of Pierre Charles, why is she involved in the Labour Party at that level when they know, or when she knows that they crucified him at the cross? So I'm not, the sentiments expressed, I'm not going to be joining that celebration when his wife, Jocelyn Charles, joined the Labour Party. How do you respond to this one?
Well, all I would say is that his wife has not been true to his legacy, and she found herself hijacked by the current ruling elite in Dominica, and she, rather than be true to her husband's legacy, has betrayed it, and therefore that's why she is with the current dispensation there.
You're saying she may have betrayed what he thought about being a member of the Labour Party at that time.
Yeah, she has betrayed what Pierre Charles believed in, which is democracy, anti-colonial struggle, and and or what I say, Pierre Charles wanted clean government. I mean, look at what he achieved. One, integrity legislation. Pierre Charles was very clear that there must be no corruption in government and all people in government must declare their assets. That's why he put in place the Integrity in Public Office Act and the commission, the Integrity Commission. And he went one step further. He made sure that the Integrity Commission would have civil society representation. What happened after he passed? That Integrity Commission destroyed, and the civil society people removed. I think that similarly, Pierre Charles would have wanted on the Electoral Commission civil society representation, which is one of the failures of the electoral reform bills before Parliament. It does not call for civil society representation in the Electoral Commission. And without that, you will just continue to have the logjam and the no movement in the Electoral Commission. So that that problem that we have of the free members of the commission voting for whatever the government wants, and the opposition members of the commission voting for what the opposition wants. So we cannot reach a consensus. And that's the larger problematic of the whole country. We don't have a national consensus in governance in Dominica. And that's a very, very unfortunate situation. We can't develop this country without a national consensus. And we cannot have people agree on the results of an election without electoral reform. So really, Matt, we're really at a serious crossroads. We've reached what I call a fork in the road. And Dominica is really in a very difficult place right now.
Here's a question I never asked you before, Crispin. I know you were around when, of course, Dominica, then when Prime Minister Skerritt moved over to China from Taiwan. What was the thoughts there at high level? We may have lost the Prime Minister a few months before that, but what are the thoughts, and what are the thoughts at that level of discussion? Really, relationship between China and Taiwan and Dominica's own relationship.
Yes. Good question, Matt. Well, I'll tell you that Pierre Charles faced a lot of pressure from some members of his party that to make that switch to one China policy.
Mm-hmm.
And Pierre was not opposed to that idea, but he had this view that we have to be careful and not make a rash move. And I'll hasten to add that Pierre had studied Chinese politics. You know, when we had our movement in Grand Bay, we studied all of the major powers. We studied the United States, we studied Soviet Union at the time, we studied China. And I'll tell you that those people who went to China in 2004 had no understanding of the Communist Party of China and how to deal with the Communist Party of China. So Pierre felt that we always Taiwan at the time. Let us see whether we can get from the Taiwanese the kind of development cooperation that we were expecting, and get the Taiwanese to do an international airport like they did in
St. Vincent?
Most of the international airports in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And let them build a stadium, let them build a deepwater port at Portsmouth. These are the things that Pierre Charles wanted. And if he was going to get it, if he could get it from the Taiwanese, he probably would have stayed the course with the Taiwanese. Anyway, he did start the process of discussing with the People's Republic of China. I know for a fact that he had sent Ambrose George on a reconnaissance visit to China to explore.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had me in New York at the UN speaking to the Chinese. I had several meetings with the Chinese ambassador. And I'll tell you at that time, Matt, that the package of cooperation we were looking for from the Chinese was in the region of about $500 million US. And that was to cover the following projects: a depot, an international airport, most likely built at the site that the UWP wanted to build it because the land was available. Second, he wanted a deepwater port at Portsmouth. Third, he wanted a package of financing to help the private sector refinance in Dominica. And fourth, he suggested to the Chinese that he would grant them land to set up manufacturing centers on the island. So not just having one place where you have manufacturing or factories, but to spread that across the country. And the Chinese said yes. And when we added up what the package was, it was like $500 million. And I said to the Chinese, are you comfortable with financing that? And they said, no problem. What didn't make it happen was Pierre's passing, because months later, he died in office. So we are looking at a much larger framework. You heard the people who came back from China after after the prime minister went to China saying they had 300 million. That's 300 million EC dollars. That's 120 million US dollars. That's nothing, really. Frankly, I felt that that they made a serious error and compromised Dominica, and they got the little thing from the Chinese, but that was really nothing. The Chinese were washing money at that time, and they could have given us what we wanted, and they would have given us what we wanted.
No, we compare now Taiwan and China because there's a lot of international politics going on. Do you think Dominica would have benefited a lot more from Taiwan than they are now currently benefiting from China, the Republic of China and Taiwan? Yes? Are you there?
Well, Matt, I can only go by what has happened with Ralph Gonzalez with the Taiwanese.
Okay.
Ralph has gotten what he wanted. He has always told me that he has the China card in his back pocket, which he uses to leverage and negotiate with the Taiwanese. We could have done the same thing. So really, I think we are now with China, but I still feel that there's far more that the Chinese could do for us if we had asked them for the right things. Like, for example, we never asked the Chinese for help with renewable energy. Today, China is the largest producer of solar panels in the world. We never asked the Chinese to set up factories on Dominica where we could have our manufacturing sector develop. We never asked the Chinese for help with our water industry, which is still looking waiting. It's a product that we could export to China. We have nothing to sell to China. And that's a rather unfortunate situation. So.
All right. My final question, because I know we have another guest there coming up here. What is the situation with Algeria and Dominica at this point? I know Pierre Charles was very interested in Algeria at some point. What's the latest situation with that?
Yeah, well, you know, on the Pierre Charles, I believe it was Pierre Charles was the prime minister when I negotiated with Algeria for diplomatic relations, and the Algerians graciously agreed. And the Algerians You know, Algeria is a very important country in Africa, and it's a country I have a great deal of respect for, and Pierre Charles had a great deal of respect for, because they fought for their independence. They defeated the French. The French didn't want to give them their independence, so they went to war with the French, and they defeated them on the battlefield, and that's how they got their independence. Algeria is probably one of the most independent countries on the African continent. Algeria, because Dominica in 1979, under Prime Minister Oliver Serafin, recognized that the people of Western Sahara needed to get their independence from Spain. Spain did not give them their independence, and Spain one day just picked up and ran away from Western Sahara. And then the Moroccans, Morocco and Mauritania, the two neighboring countries, decided to invade Western Sahara. Why? Because Western Sahara has important resources. They are in the desert, but they have a border with the Atlantic Ocean. And Western Sahara has one of the largest deposits of phosphates, which you use to make fertilizer. And the Moroccans, that's what they were after. So they entered Western Sahara, and then the liberation movement, the Polisario, supported by the Algerian government, fought the Moroccans, and the Moroccans could not win that war. So they reached an agreement in 1991 for a ceasefire. Now, Algeria liked the fact that Dominica saw the importance of supporting the independence of Western Sahara. So Algeria said, we will help Dominica. And they gave us a cooperation agreement in 2008. I was the ambassador at the UN. And that was after we had a hurricane called Hurricane Omar, which those of you who remember, it came from the Caribbean coast, the West Coast, and the storm surge took all the boats on the West Coast, and a lot of fishermen lost their boats. The Algerians sent $200,000 US to help the fishermen. That's $500,000 in Dominican, Eastern Caribbean dollars, to help the fishermen to get their motors and their boats back. I don't know how that was implemented, but from what I'm told, a lot of drug dealers got boats and motors. Anyway, so the Algerians turned around and said, look, we want to help Dominica on the long term, so we will give you a cooperation agreement for a multi-year partnership where the Algerians were prepared to invest $50 million US into Dominica over maybe like 5 to 10 years. Do you know what happened? The Dominican government, they never signed the agreement, Matt.
Never.
They never signed it. Mr. Henderson, the current Dr. Henderson and Mr. Skerrit, they promised the Algerian foreign minister that they would sign the agreement, and to this day, they have not signed it. So Dominica lost out. Now, Dominica was the only country in CARICOM that this was offered to. And it is because we were the second country in the Caribbean, and I say Caribbean here, not CARICOM, the Caribbean, to have supported the independence of Western Sahara. The first country was Grenada under Maurice Bishop, Dominica under Oliver Serafin second, and Cuba under Fidel Castro third. And up to this day, the Cubans support Western Sahara. They have doctors in Western Sahara. They have teachers in Western Sahara. The Venezuelans have built a high school in Western Sahara, continue to support the Western Saharans. And Dominica is, you know what Dominica is promoting now? Dominica is promoting autonomy for Western Sahara, not independence. They have joined with the King of Morocco, who is somebody that is not so well these days, and he doesn't have this mindset of building an Africa that has no colonial possessions. So the last colony in Africa is Western Sahara, and it's occupied by the friend of Dominica called King Mohammed VI from Morocco. I would say that Morocco's legacy in Dominica is that hotel they are building at Portsmouth for the last 15 years. And I wonder whether the King of Morocco would be proud to come to Dominica to see his hotel in the swamp in Portsmouth.
I heard from the grapevine that Dominica, any Dominican or the Prime Minister, any official can't go back to Algeria at this point. They cannot present themselves there.
Let me say that Mr. Scarrett is not welcome in Algiers. But you heard recently that Dr. Thompson Fontaine made a visit to Algiers, but Mr. Scarrett would not be welcome there. I can tell you that.
I can tell you we have a lot more to learn. And we will talk to you subsequently, and we'll of course continue that discussion. Okay? Thank you.
Okay.
Of course, somebody's suggesting here that it appears that Mr. Scarrett and his team visited China, who met with the Chinese, may have benefited, huh? So you see, this is a Q95 is like a university, huh? So I'm sure you learned a lot from the former ambassador, UN ambassador, Mr. Crispin Gregoire. And I'm sure we'll continue that conversation in the near future. Somebody says, damn, that was deep. I wanted more. It was an eye-opening conversation with Crispin. We're going to do this and we'll come back. Our next guest here.
Auto Trade is introducing our very own mobile app. Yes, the Auto Trade app is here. From scheduling your service appointments, request financing, checking our vehicle and parts inventory, to receiving personalized coupons and sales specials. Life is so much easier with the new Auto Trade app. Download the Auto Trade app from the Play Store or App Store today. Call us at 255-6800. Auto Trade, it's more than a vehicle, it's a relationship. Mouvement créole à Secure. Tout le monde créole pour attention. Comité pour études créole Dominique et puis Radio QFM qui présenté. Mouvement créole. Tous les mardis soirs, 6 après-midi. Information, blague, interview, l'histoire, problème, discussion, reportage, apprendre parler et puis écrit créole. Lien avec ton tête créole. Bon musique créole. Mouvement créole. À nous fait un rendez-vous, messieurs, mesdames, tous les mardis soirs. QFM Kay frappé avec bon parole créole. Sans sa participer, qui est nous rapide bâtiment Mouvement créole à seconde station QFM. Boissez avec nous tous les mardis soirs 6h pour Mouvement créole. Pas matcher ça.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mikel Henderson inviting you to Emerald Elegance, an evening of exquisite entertainment aboard the MV Freeway. On January 8th, 2025, the Freewinds Band and I will present a benefit concert in aid of the Dominica Infirmary and the Premium Home and Residential Care Services. Tickets are $75 each and can be purchased at Deepex Color Lab on Cork Street in Roseau. Do join us on January 8th aboard the MV Freewinds for an unforgettable night of music. You don't want to miss it.
The Dominica Calypso Association, Flo, and Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited present the 2025 Calypso competition, beginning with the Calypso Eliminations on January 11th, 2025. Come for the laughter at the Calypso Eliminations on January 11th on the forecourt of the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. So turn up to hear the new tracks drop. Come for the fun. The Calypso Eliminations on the forecourt of the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, Saturday, January 11th, 2025. Brought to you by the Dominica Calypso Association, Flo, and Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited. The Calypso Eliminations, Saturday, January 11th, 8 p.m. 8 p.m.
All right, Dominica, we're here. As I said, we had two guests. We just heard from Mr. Crispin Gregoire, former UN ambassador. A former UN ambassador. Let's take a call before we move on to the next guest. I think somebody's trying to call in. Are you there?
Something that just crossed my mind there.
Uh,
If our healthcare system is so good in Dominica, why the accused murderer, Mr. Jonathan Lyra, want to leave Dominica to go and get medical care for his prostate in America? Eh? We have so much good healthcare in Dominica, and Scarritt friend want to go over there. Something wrong somewhere. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And this, of course, health conversation will continue. And maybe tomorrow. Let's see what happens. What a depth of knowledge and diplomatic expertise that was displayed by Ambassador Crispin in his presentation this afternoon. To you, congratulations to you again, Mr. Crispin Gregoire, sharing your wealth of information with Dominica. On the telephone, or of course, in the studios with me this afternoon, I want to, of course, introduce our guests. Good afternoon to you, sir. Can you tell the people who you are?
Hey, good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon
And
to you.
my name is Samuel Durand, and I'm the head or leader of a new movement that is formed. It is called Movement for Democracy. So it entails the restoration of democracy in Dominica and the preservation of democracy. So we want to educate people that Dominica belongs to them and not all the people. They have fair share in Dominica.
Repeat the name of it again.
MFD, Movement for Democracy.
How much biting have you been doing there in terms of this movement that you're promoting?
We have been doing a lot of work, groundwork, and I want to say congratulations to all the members. We got members, and I'm just representing. So it's a formal introduction to the public. We just want to sensitize the public.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of people in 2024 that was waiting and expecting us to come up with something. We had informed them that is going to happen.
Okay.
So there was a pause during the Christmas season. Nobody heard about us. So I just want them to know that keep their confidence high. This thing is there, and it is for all Dominicans.
So what's the objective of this movement?
Well, as I said before, the objective of the movement is to restore democracy in Dominica and to preserve democracy. So what it entails really is that we want people to understand their freedom. You understand what I'm saying? We want people to understand the power that they possess as a citizen of Dominica.
We want them to know that, for instance, as I said before, I usually call your program to
Right. Mhm.
sensitize the public about it. We want people to know that victimization is not for them. You know what I'm saying? Being a citizen of Dominica,
Mhm.
you cannot accept being victimized because you have a different view or
Okay.
different political view of what is going on.
Mhm.
For instance, this movement have high interest in protesting.
Mhm.
Um, we have a lot of interest in the development of Dominica on a whole, and we are interested in women's abuse, the
Okay.
abuse of women and children,
Mhm.
and that's why we are here to call women to come on board, and the parents of the children and all these things, they can contact the movements. For now, I'll put my number out there so they can contact me. And whilst we are in the structural process
Mhm.
of the movement, where we getting things organized, because when you set up this thing,
So it's
there are people
movement for democracy.
movements for democracy.
And this
That's what it is.
And you're saying this involves protests.
It will involve protesting. So
Mhm.
when there
But
is
when you say protests, the lawmen are listening
Yeah,
attentively. Yeah.
we have a right to protest. So that's, for me, is a legal thing to do already.
Mhm.
Everybody have a right to protest. I mean, protest is not just going on the street. Protest is general.
Okay.
Something you can just stay home. It's a form of protest. You understand what I'm saying? So if you can't do that, that means you live in a what?
Uh-huh.
Dictatorial state.
Okay.
So you have the right to protest. And there is that thing that there are people that are employed. Let's say, for instance, in the supermarket, and they are threatened of victimization of their job, losing their job, and this thing. This movement will guarantee that that don't happen. The movement will guarantee that people can now leave their job, go out to protest once the protest is held by the movement, and the movement will be involved in all protests by the way that is for the development.
But you're not a union, though. How can you assure that these people will be safe with their jobs?
No, we actually will be working with the union, but we're
Okay.
not going to work like the union, because we are setting up a body. We are setting up a front a unified body.
Mhm.
So it's not about depending. Let the union do their jobs. But the movement is set up. We're gonna have members.
Mhm.
If you're working in a place, you're part of the movement. If you get victimized, maybe your union might not come down, but you can be assured you have a support system from the movements that will come down and look out for you.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So the unions and the other organizations, they have their part to play in the development of Dominica. But this movement is for real, because a lot of reasons why things are not happening in Dominica and things are not progressive, especially where protest is concerned and all these things, is that people don't believe that they have a support system.
Uh-huh.
You see, like, if you go out to protest, let's say the police hold somebody for maybe, you know what I'm saying, walking like they did the Douglas lady the time in town.
Mhm.
Who stood for her? Nobody came down, and she have to be looking for bail there and there. This should not happen. The movement's gonna guarantee people, if whilst you on a protest mission
Okay.
and the police interfere with you, the whole of the movements
Mhm.
we will be standing with you in solidarity. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, if it can go as deep as, if we have to break down police station to get our member out, we'll do it. If we have to break down prison to get our member out, we'll do it. We want to stand in solidarity.
You're that militant?
It's not about militant. It's not about militant. It's just having a love for people.
Well,
That's all it is.
No, I'm saying, but you are now saying that you're prepared to break down.
I am saying we do not need
Okay.
members of the movements to be victimized. You know what I'm saying? Especially wrongfully. So what I'm saying is that you're not.
So the breakdown you're talking about is not literal pressure. You're talking about.
Well,
your breakdown is pressure.
If literal is I mean, if literal is necessary, what is necessary? That's what is necessary. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you, this movement is for real. It's gonna give real support. I heard your program. I heard different leaders of opposition parties and this different thing around here. But do they have the guts to really stand up for what they're calling people to stand up? I mean, you can come on Matt Peltier program and talk and say your thing, and I stand in solidarity with them. But do they have what it takes to actually stand up for Dominica and what is good for Dominica?
Because I can tell you, I've been blunt with you. When you say breakdown, because I'm sure the police now interpreting that as saying, this guy is threatening us.
The police have their own brain to interpret. Say what I say. Don't interpret what I say. It's simple as that.
Let's take a phone call. Hello, talk to me. Yes.
Yeah, reference the guy with the movement for democracy. Why does the person try to join the existing movement, existing groups? I don't see this guy. I don't know. He's just a waste of time, man.
So what do you want him to do? Because you're saying he's a waste of time. What do you want him to do?
Join the existing group that there.
So what's the existing group? Because we're not seeing any group out there that's saying that they standing for the protesters. Which group are you talking about?
What about there's already Munse where there's the others. Why the proliferation of this group? That's Mr. He's on some mission, man. Somebody must have paid him.
You have a mission.
Matt, let me tell you. I want to welcome that caller. I want to say, my brother, join the movement.
Okay.
I'm not saying that you should separate from any other group that stands for Dominica. Anything that is good for Dominica, whether it's a different group, you should not fight it. We stand in solidarity with Munseri. I know these guys. We cool. All the other groups there. The only thing I can say right there, we are not politically affiliated. We will not affiliate ourselves with any political group.
So you're an independent group.
Independent, because when it becomes political, that's a different thing. We defeat our own self, then we defeat the purpose. You know what I'm saying? So I am saying to the political group and the supporters of the political group to join the movement, because you want something to stand up for Dominica. You know what I'm saying? You cannot trust leaving your democracy in the hands of politicians. They will make a show out of you using that. You know what I'm saying? Like we have right now. And other political group cannot even stand to deliver you from it.
So do you usually stand with the opposition groups that stand for, during protest action? Are you usually there?
Yeah.
Okay.
The last time they had the truckers protest in Kenfield. Well, now people will understand who I am.
Okay.
It was me that was streaming all around the place. They had on Facebook, wherever the place is, because I felt that I had to come on board. And when that happened, I felt the pain of Dominican people. That was the first time I get tear gassed anyway. And I want the police to understand, because they've been targeting me. The more you target me, is more energy you give me. You know what I'm saying? You're not killing my spirit.
Okay.
You're building me. You letting me challenge me.
Have you been approached by the police?
Not for that
Okay.
there, but I know they have me on a high list of whatever names and all this different stuff. But I stay within the boundaries of the law, man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because people came to me and tell me about a statement I made down there about RSS and all this different stuff. Come on, that's simple. People must not fear. You know what I'm saying? Fear is your destruction. RSS came here to kill you for what is right that you stood for.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Which it is wrong on their part. You have the right to self-defense. If somebody comes to kill you, Matt, what you gonna do? Let them kill you? You have the right to defend yourself. So kill them before they kill you. You know what I'm saying?
That's what you said.
That's what I said. So what's wrong in that? People, you all need to stop being scared of what you all think. Your own mind distracting and destroying you all. If you have the right to defend yourself, but you don't lie back and say, hey, kill me. I remember what they did to Salisbury people, and it's on my heart. This is a thing that hurts me, because it's not only Salisbury people they came there to attack. They came there to attack the whole of Dominica that will stand up for their rights in Dominica. Even until today, what we have, we're still fighting for the same thing they were shooting after people for. You know what I'm saying? They shot some people in Salisbury, and they poisoned some people, because some people die after the tear gas, so I call that poison. You know what I'm saying? Nothing going down for that. So I want people to understand, one of the biggest problem we have here is fear. So the movement is actually targeting the fear of people. People who work in the public service, people who work in private sector and all these different things. Fear is the biggest problem. They're afraid to stand up. You know what I'm saying? They have to hide to do something.
And you're saying this group will stand with them?
Of course. That is why I'm here. That is why I'm public, because I put away fear. I put fear behind of me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm standing up to show these people they got leadership. I listen to you all the time. People call you and tell you, we need to do that. We need to do that. Where are they when it's time to do something? You know what I'm saying? Anyways, the movement is being structured because we want to be accountable. We
Mhm.
want to show accountability, because there will be people that want to give donations and all these different things. I am not here today and no other time to ask people for no monies. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? I am saying support the movement. You know what I'm saying? For democracy in Dominica.
Mhm.
So we have to give accountability. So everything will set up that we give accountability to anybody who feels like they
So you
want
can
to
have a
make a
structure
donation.
like an executive and everything.
Everything will be structured. So as I say, I'm giving a formal introduction, but everything is being put in place. And when I turn up on on your program again, I will have companions, members who are in position and all this different stuff.
Mhm.
But I am saying to listen, I heard Crispin Gregory a while ago, and he fell right in the alley of what I came here to talk about. Now we talk about Roosevelt Scary being in China and deals with China. But the question becomes, we got a president, a woman. The only question I have to ask her is that, does she know what contains in the MOU with China? You are the president, the head of state of Dominica.
Mhm.
Do you know what is contained in that MOU? If you doesn't know that, you're not qualified to be the president. You understand what I'm saying? So you as a journalist, man, you need to ask her that question when you come across. Then if she knows, that means it should be available to the public. Why is it not available to the public? You know what I'm saying? I need to know what you sign on my behalf, because you're killing me. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm saying that you're destroying people all around the place. The Chinese are taking over. And by the way, I must make it public because I'm going to hurt a lot of people when I say that. Some people have something to hide. I got connection, right?
Okay.
Listen to me carefully. I
Mhm.
want to say this publicly. I got connection, right?
Mhm.
I have Chinese connection. I got Taiwanese connection. I got connection in different countries, right? Information I have received is that the Chinese plan a takeover style in Dominica by 2030. Control your parts, control all these things. They are building to establish yourself. Now it makes sense to me because I remember I was in another country sometime in the past, and the Chinese ambassador said the theme of China is we build a tree and our generation rest under it. So they're not doing nothing for you. They're doing for themselves and their generation after them. You know what I'm saying? We love luxury because we haven't experienced it too much in life yet. So because we see a little school building, we check, hey, that is good, that is nice, and we fall for these gimmicks. By the time we do check, 5 Chinese take over Roseau and put all our people out of business. You know what I'm saying? Things are working against us, and actually they're using us to work against our own self in Dominica,
Mhm.
whereby we become poor, mendicant, and and have this guy making us beg and all this different thing. Why does people enjoy a begging life? Why people want to stick to enjoying a begging life? And that is what the movements want to show people and get people out of that condition.
So that's all part of your plan to
The,
get
the
people out there.
vision of the movement.
All right, so we're all running out of time, so we're gonna, of course, when this movement, as you said, is established, we'll hear a lot more from
You're
them.
going to hear a lot more, and not only hear a lot more, you're going to see a lot more. Yeah. By the way, this movement is going to change the way protest is done in Dominica. I'm telling you, totally change the whole perspective of how protest is done in Dominica. The way protest is done, that's a waste of time. It's not successful. We're not going anywhere. Everybody coming out to do something. Some people coming out, and this thing is not working. But the movements and the visionaries that involve in the movements, you're going to see a different format, a different trend of protest in Dominica. And then
Let
you
me see if I
have
can
this.
get a final call there before we go. Are you there? Yes, caller? Caller, are you there? Caller, are you there? No. Anyway, we have to take your final comment because we've got to go.
Well, I want to say to people that
Can you give your number again?
Yeah, I was about to do that. My contact number is 315-6120. My name is Samuel Durant. And
repeat again, please.
315-6120. Samuel Durant. And we are awaiting your call. And the movement is open to, if you can call and just ask, what can you do for your country through this movement? It's not a problem.
So it's Movement for Democracy.
Movement for Democracy. And it is not a personal thing. It's for all Dominicans. And we will work with every group that stands for democracy in Dominica and the keeping of democracy and the betterment of all Dominican people on the whole.
Mr. Samuel, thank you very much for showing up here this afternoon.
Belter, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Dominican Nice Boy.
At the right time, everybody feel fine. Dominica is a paradise. Oh, yes. Say it once, brother, say it twice. Dominica, Dominica. Hey, hey, yeah, boy. Can't explain my feelings. It's willing. No matter creed or race, everyone could find a place. If you fall through frustration, Calypso still will give you a chance. Cause the country nice, boy. The country nice.
Chris B. St. Joe on the West Coast.
Come quick, quick, quick. Don't mind if they gossip. In their hands they don't mean it. Cause the country nice, boy. The country nice. Imagine electors and them come from overseas, vote in a government and tomorrow they flee. No need to protest cause most people please. You come to the right place at the right time. Everybody feel fine. Dominica is a paradise. Oh, yeah. Say it once, brother, say it twice. Dominica, Dominica. Oh, yeah.
Our next stop, Flow.
Mr. Warren making it better for Dominica, boy. All right. God bless you. Sometimes this still does great. Our elders when we meet, nobody can go hungry. In this land, food is plenty. Cause the country nice, boy. The country nice. People who don't want to work, they will survive the no joke. Where else under the sun, people broke and can buy a rum. Cause the country nice, boy. The country nice. Listen. And if you want, you do.
I'm just, of course, sharing some good news. I just saw that the government of Dominica has signed a contract for the roofing there of the Arak.
You come to the right.
Much talked Arak House of Culture.
Everybody feel fine. Hey.
For the Caribbean Building Specialties Limited. For the waterproofing of the Arak House of Culture. Galvanized roof. The contract value is $113,000. Signed by Mrs. Gloria Joseph, Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Culture, Youth, Sports and Community Development, and the company's director, Kalmesh Tamar.
Check the host on the talk show. People business they always know. Plenty lies and little facts, but nobody care about that cause the country nice, boy.
So they just signed a contract for the waterproofing of the Arak House of Culture.
Women say no money, but it's more they make, baby. If your children don't want to learn, high school status they want to earn. Cause the country nice, boy. The country nice. Yet some people trying to mash up the country.
So once completed, the upgraded Arak House of Culture will serve as a venue for national events, particularly during Independence, from Festa, Carnival, Emancipation celebrations.
Everybody feel fine. Hey, Dominica is a paradise. Oh yes. Say it once, brother. Say it once.
The waterproofing of the roof will allow for the completion of these interior works that's planned for the Arak House of Culture. During an interview earlier, I had the Prime Minister speaking to, basically saying that it will be renamed the Arak House of Culture in honor of a prominent cultural icon. He did not mention the icon, but I suspect we may well be aware who this icon is, cultural icon of Dominica, but he has to speak with the people or the family first before making that statement. So the Arak of Culture, the name will be changed in his name. Let's see if we can go to our friends here from Flow Dominica this time.
FM, the genuine sound of Dominica.
These are the trumpets, hey, watch over us. Emperor Selassie, I them your road, rugged and steep. I know it is a must for us to make it home, even through them your gnashing of teeth. Hey, guide over us, Holy Emmanuel, all these sister knees could never get weak. I know it is a must for us to make it home, through them your gnashing of teeth. These are those who constantly they have been placing the rocks on the traps, leaving them snares laying. And then wish for all of them hate to be falling. Getting at them face the witness and uprising. Feelings I remaking it unto my way. No apology, I am on them every day. Conspiracy leads the game you play. Now the fall on the knees without my say. Hey, kind over us. Holy Emmanuel, I eat it's a road, rugged and steep. I know it is a must for us to make it home, even through them, you're gnashing of teeth. Young kind over us. Emperor Selassie, Isis and knees could never get weak. I know it is a must for us to make it home, even through them, you're gnashing of teeth. Them for know from the mountain and the valleys. Oh, just tell me so I run both river banks. Within life, you've got the valleys, yeah. Here is the Rasta youth wise giving thanks. That I give my man thanks, yeah. Working for you makes no sense. You could never put a dime in my pocket. King Selassie on the front line, so watch this. Ride over Emperor Selassie, I name your road, rugged and steep. I know it is a must for us to make it home, even through them you're gnashing of teeth. Hey, kind of Holy Emmanuel, those who rugged and steep. I know it is a must for us to make it home, through them you're gnashing of teeth. Them high statistics and economics have them going so kinky. Me drop them, me rasta man song, me bing the drum, me calabash chalice and Babylon some me crazy, giving praises. Now I bring the ISIS, our business. Me no time that slavery, judge on them gun them rich, spiting them big. Well, I don't know what's from across to my victory. Judge a kind over us. Emperor Selassie, I them a road rugged and steep. I know it is a must for us to make it home. To them you're gnashing of teeth. I tell you, go and protect us. Holy Emmanuel, knees could never get weak. I know it is a must. Oh, for us to make it home. To them you're gnashing of teeth. These are those who constantly they have been placing the rocks and the traps, leaving them snares laying. And then we see how them hate be falling. Getting at them place the witness and your prize win. Healing, I remind you it unto my way. No apology, fire burn, high society. Every day, conspiracy, leave the game they play. Now the fall underneath without my...
Hey, Miss I mention, ask yourself this question. Wanna say, wanna done, man. I know the program. Tell me, have you ever stopped to think what make a girl cheat? Have you ever asked her if she like how you do it? You need to check yourself before you start kiss your teeth. You're not ready for this yet, boy. Have you ever wondered what make a girl come? A woman must be satisfied before you say you're done. You can't say a thing if you end up and get fun. You're not ready for this yet, boy. And you're a little fool that say you rule the world. And with my bum scary and I sleep over world. Get your act together before you look another girl. You're not ready for this yet, boy. Did you even realize the woman have mood? You have been over younger little girl of one room. That's why you need that man I eat one pound of food. Oh no, not ready for it. Oh no, not ready for it. Oh no, not ready for this yet, boy. Both are full of yourself, praise. Hot fire they about the old in a place. God have to work a miracle to make the dead raise. Roll them up and lock them up with hey, hey, hey. Have you ever thought to think what make a girl cheat? And have you ever asked her if she like how you do it? You need to check yourself before you start kiss your teeth. You're not ready for this yet, boy. Have you ever wondered where make a girl come? A woman must be satisfied before you say you're done. You can't say a thing if you end up and get fun. You're not ready for this yet, boy. But you're a little fool that say you rule the world. And when my bum scary and I sleep over world. Get your act together before you look another girl. You're not ready for this yet, boy. Did you even realize a woman have mood? You have been over younger let when girl have one room. That's why another man I eat one pound of food. Oh no, not ready for it. Oh no, not ready for it. Oh no, not ready for this yet, boy. Man I kick back and say you now watch the face while the woman I relax one and
you an easy way to play.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay.
Then you're on your way.
Flow is keeping you connected.
Why pay full price for your mobile when you can pay half? Just bundle your home internet and mobile services with Flow and save 50% on your mobile bill. That's money in your pocket every month. Plus, now you get free YouTube and WhatsApp data. And you can share your plan with up to 3 other numbers. Upgrade now and get a free smartphone. Switch and keep your number. Learn more at discoverflow.co.
How we live? Hybrid life. Living on the hybrid life. We live hybrid life. Living on the hybrid life. About time we now watch phone bill. No. That's what the contract is a sure thing. How with the new floor plan name? If you don't know about it, then they better slide in. How we live? Hybrid life. Living on the hybrid life. We live hybrid life. Living on the hybrid life. Jump in at the hybrid life. Living on the hybrid life. We live hybrid life. Living on the hybrid life.
With Flow's new hybrid plan, postpaid and prepaid come together as one, with no overages, no contract, no deposit, and no catch. Hybrid! Bundle up now and get 30 gigabytes of data and unlimited phone calls for only $55 per month.
Flow ni en magasin neuf à Séoul. IWV éveille power pour mener service bao. Nous te promettons innovation avec nous qu'a délivré à présent. Boutique Flow à Séoul. Power pour mener bao bon qualité service avec produit ou ça taper un plus gros magasin Flow. Si vous voulez gagner un portable neuf ou registrer pour un service neuf, faites en plainte, ou bien payer un bill, ou bien simplement marquer une section, ou ça fait tout ça. Côté magasin Flow à Siwoul. Comme ça, les oué magasin Flow à Siwoul en communauté ou bien en la ouïa, pas paix. Vini pour quitter travailler Flow ba au bon service professionnel. Magasin Flow à Siwoul. N'importe place, n'importe l'air. Ka vini en palapotou. Flow ka vini tout de suite. A dans en l'occasion tout poué.
The new Flow Store on Wheels is here and ready to serve you. We promised you innovation and we have delivered. The Flow Store on Wheels is equipped to provide all the great products and services available at our Flow Experience Center. If you want to purchase the latest smartphones, sign up for a new service, log a fault, pay a bill, or simply make an inquiry, you can do it all at our Flow Store on Wheels. Now that's what you call full service on wheels. So when you see our Flow Store on Wheels in your community or on your street, don't be shy. Stop by and let our professional team serve you. The new Flow Store on Wheels, convenience and reliability at your doorstep. Coming soon to a location near you.
You an easy way to pay.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay.
Then you're on your way.
Flow is keeping you connected.
Here's a fun fact. In just 29 seconds, you can say goodbye to paper bills forever. Seriously, in 29 seconds. That's less time than this ad. Head over to discoverflow.co or visit us in-store and update your contact information now. By October 1st, your bills will be digital, easy to access, secure, and hassle-free. So what are you waiting for? This ad still has 2 seconds left, and you could have already gone paperless.
Flow is going green. As Flow continues to enhance its services and communication with you, the company announces a transition from paper to electronic bills from October 1st, 2024. With Flow e-bills, customers will receive billing information securely and conveniently without any interruptions. From October 1st, enjoy faster and efficient delivery. No more waiting for postal delivery. 24/7 access. Access your bill online anytime. Maintaining an eco-friendly environment. Reduce paper clutter. Convenient payment options. Pay via MyFlow app directly from the link in the email. Flow customers who are new to e-billing should provide or update their personal contact information with a valid email address. To ensure your personal contact information is up to date, visit any Flow store. Contact customer care at any time. Toll free at 1-800-804-2994 or visit discoverflow.co. Flow is keeping you connected.
Hey yo, I'm not even gonna lie. I used to call myself an ugly you, but I'm not even an ugly you. I'm a sexy you, you understand? Girl all over the globe wanna up me, you understand?
Girls in my crib, 0 Snapchat, 0 Instagram, posting. Got the vibe, man. Start falling like London Bridge. I don't care if I saw you in a magazine or if you're on TV. That one don't mean nothing to me. Don't need a shower, baby, I need a freak. Lick it like ice cream, as if you mean to be disgusting. It's not enough. Chop my banana, one side I like and no stopping. Go shopping. Yeah. If I do, I do. If they need no jack up, as well as something in my book. It's a girl from the ghetto. Girl comes from town. It's the life of a city boy. Oh yeah, yeah. Dama. Oh yeah, yeah. Jello. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Mama Sheba, come back on. Make me the start of the paragon. Start to the halago, cause you know some my people they calago. Ogulo my power, as I hating on us, make me my yamo. Love in my potato, cause you know say I come from potato. That's why I'm a jago. Start to the dance, I'm a gago. Go need a lago. I go show you say bounce and a lago. Cause I be city boy. And as I day for the street, they give me joy. Lamborghini boy. Put them as a Jesus and I'm not religious. But I know. Yo, Fabolorano. Then you know Jacob. So I something in my book. I can see you from the ghetto. That girl's from Motown. Still like the city boy. Oh yeah, yeah. Dama. Oh yeah, yeah. Jello. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Hey yo, I'm not even gonna lie. I used to call myself an ugly you, but I'm not even an ugly you. I'm a sexy you, you understand? Girl all over the globe wanna up you, you understand?
Shaking, rage, roast.
Yeah. Which kind of life where I never see? I carry God so I fear not. Steady increase in the commands. Command. Original no be parody. You know fit clear for your memory. Whether now winter or summer. Cause I just sharp and now living life. See my fire burning bright within the inside me. Smally way they mighty. They never know high color. To remove fight, check and balance. Everything inside my mind daily. Trust me, you can't fool me. And then treat all guys who are friendly and conscious. I'm allergic to suckles. I'm not ready for confusion. They're telling me make I show love. Stability, everything a connection. I'm not ready for confusion. Things happen inside life. Try to make I live my life. Dreams come true. If